Obviously, everybody, this is not Melissa. Melissa
No,
had
sorry.
to, yeah, Melissa had a thing she absolutely had to do. Times got changed on her, but she doesn't believe in a Mercury retrograde, so that's okay. So this is Laura filling in for Melissa today. So
Hi, everybody. So, yeah, feel free to comment in the comments any questions that you may have for Marianne, and we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll up because I know there are some that already started with
yes,
the
yeah,
hellos
yeah,
and
that's what you
everything.
have to really.
All right. It looks like somebody was already got to analyze the Stanley Hotel ghost last week after Wednesday.
Yeah, it was weird. Somehow Melissa put it up on that Twitchy stuff, whatever Twitch is,
Okay. Yes.
and they didn't. It was only supposed to play for like 5 minutes, but they did something wrong, and it played for a while. So a lot of
Cool.
people saw the whole thing. When Melissa cuts that back now, that's going to be half of whatever they saw. So some people saw it, and some people didn't. So the one that dropped today is the podcast is the second part of the theater, and then next week will be the Stanley.
Yes, which if you haven't already seen, we're gonna
Yeah, we'll do it again.
let's see. Renee asked, Marianne, could you have seen the Queen on TV if she had been present at her funeral, or if you can only see ghosts via Zoom?
Yeah, Renee, no, I can't see him on TV. That's why I was so shocked when I could see him on Zoom because I didn't think I could. But yeah, but that double rainbow, that was just so much proof that she was so out of here. I think she just wanted to go see Philip and she took off. She knew what her funeral was. She planned the whole thing. So I mean, she knew, and God forbid they don't do what the Queen says. So I'm sure it was perfect. And but no, she didn't stick around, and I never could see any ghosts on TV. I can presume, like everybody else, like, oh, there must be something. There was either a ghost attached to them, or they need to be on meds. But I don't know.
All right. And then we have Sue asking, which we know this is coming up on Monday, if I remember. Marianne, when are we supposed to write our abundance check for this month of the new moon?
I don't have. I didn't even write it down. When's the next new moon, Ted?
I want to say the 26th for some reason.
He'll look it up. I usually write it down. We're still in a Mercury retrograde until the 3rd or 4th of October. So
Yeah,
that's
which will be flipping signs because this actually is something that I
good.
kind of
Add
studied.
to it because I don't. Right.
So right now it is in the sign of Libra, but it will be flipping into the sign of Virgo. So it kind of flip flops. And then we are about to go into Libra today or tomorrow.
See, and that was interesting for anybody that with that book club. It was yesterday. The book was on Mercury retrograde. I actually learned a lot from that book. I never, ever, ever thought to put Pisces with a retrograde or one of the signs. And I don't know why I never thought of that, but it sure makes a difference.
Right. Just because it does happen 3 times a year, the Mercury retrograde happens.
Right.
So
And at one point, and again, like I said last night at the book club, I'm Pisces, and if I just read anything about Pisces, but I think personally, you have to read two. You have to read what your birth sign is, but you also have to read what your rising is.
Exactly.
Because that tells you exactly, which I couldn't go do houses if I was just all Pisces. And the Leo, that's what puts me out there.
It looks like people are saying Sunday the 25th.
Yeah, Ted's going to look at the calendar apparently. Couldn't find it on his little handy dandy phone. Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's coming up because I usually try to stay on top of it myself too, but
well,
get a sidetracked.
Gee, maybe I could have looked in my Law of Abundance checkbook right here that I had that I didn't look at. I could probably do that without a problem. Crying out loud. Okay. It is October 25th at 6:49 a.m.
October or September?
Or September 25th at 5:55 p.m.
Okay. Yep. So whoever commented that was right on the dot earlier.
Yep. So yeah, we're good. And that's not a hard one to do anytime after midnight that day, but before 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you adjust that for your time zone. This is Eastern Standard Time.
I love that it follows on 555, by the way.
Yeah, because next month it's at 7 o'clock in the morning, which means for people that sleep in are going to be getting up early.
Right. And then Melody Melody asks, are our guardian angels still with us, even if if I can say it, still with us, even though we decide to stay earthbound?
You know, that's a really good question because I can't see spirits that have crossed over. I don't know that answer. I have no clue. I would guess no, only because they're to guide us and help us when we're alive. And seeing that we didn't go to the light, there's nothing, they can't help us get to the light. So I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Just from a standpoint of a medium.
Yes.
I would agree with you, just because they're here when we are, physically in a body. That's what they're helping us on and it's our choice whether we stay or go. So if we don't go and ascend,
Correct.
cross over, then it's like, all right, well.
Yeah, I'm guessing they go back and get in line to see who their next body is going to be that they have to be a guardian to. So yeah, I would think not.
And I think I'm thinking she's talking. So this is when bad luck happens, as in Mercury in retrograde. I wouldn't say it's bad luck. It's more so being mindful, I would think.
That's exactly right. To know it's coming is to be prepared. So, like I said, this book, I really like this book. I got a lot of good information out of it, but I still believe in this guy agrees too. Watch out for big purchases, read fine print. Big purchases are cars, houses. I mean, anything that you're going to spend a lot of money on, be careful. And health. I think those are the three big things that Mercury retrograde. And if you know it's there, you can avoid those pitfalls. It's like, it's astrology. It's a roadmap. This is what's going to happen if you do nothing. But if you know, you can do a detour. So, and I think that's the same thing with this. I think as long as you know it's there, you can be prepared for it.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree. And also just honestly healing too. I know past relationships tend to come up a lot during this time too. A lot of ex-lovers or ex-friends.
Well, and that was interesting because besides doing the Mercury, he also did retrograde on Venus and Mars, which I don't have any knowledge on any of that for sure, but glancing through it because it was the book we were supposed to read, I could see where that would affect people, with Venus and Mars too, for sure. Maybe that's when people are really totally irate, when Mars is in retrograde. Let's fight with everybody, right? And that lasts for 2 months, not 3 weeks like ours, like the Mercury. That lasts for 2 months.
And that's the thing is, people don't realize because of how spaced out the planets are, some go for a long time because it takes a long time for them to go around the sun. So
Right.
if you understand astrology, you understand that or just astronomy in general, like of how the
That's what
planets and stuff.
works, right.
All right, I'm gonna go back up. We've got somebody asking. Sync is asking, I keep hearing the EB spirits don't have concept of time. Do you find that to be true?
We are so aware of time. We eat, we sleep, we have chores on certain days of the week or jobs that we have to go to. We are very aware of time. They don't eat, they don't sleep. Yeah, do they know it's Halloween? Of course. Look at the yards are all decorated already. They know Christmas is coming mostly because of advertisements and when people do their yards. But the time frame is when you don't need to be anywhere at any certain time, and when you don't need 3 meals and 2 snacks a day, you're not really aware of the time. Like you can, a ghost can be in the house. Well, they're all going to sleep now, so it's time for bed. But they don't know if it's the 21st of September or the 30th. I don't think they have any concept of it.
And then going back to Mercury in retrograde, Melanie, what about large purchases like electronics? Is that bad?
Exactly. And that's the one thing he did not cover in that book, because when that this is what happens with computers and television studios. And oh my gosh, when the Ghost Whisperer was being filmed every week, and if it was during the Mercury retrograde, oh, there was such problems. I mean, equipment wouldn't work, or the mics didn't work. It was ridiculous. But that's it just because Mercury is the planet of communication.
Yeah.
So you're going to commute anything you commute with, and that means traveling, commuting. That's where you're going to have trouble.
Then Karen asks, Marianne, can you see colors of living people's auras?
No, I cannot see the pretty pinks and blues and yellows. All I can tell is if they have negative energy on them, I can see what shade of a dark color it is. Is it light gray? Is it charcoal gray? Is it black? Is it dark navy blue? It's the darker colors. If I'm driving down, a street and I'm looking at houses, I can tell which properties have negative energy on them because that little cloud is over the top of the house. But no, the pretty colors I can't see.
And then Jackie is asking, what can happen if you buy a car during Mercury in retrograde?
Well, again, there's this thing called the lemon law. And was that car built during the Mercury retrograde? Or were the parts made that went on that car during a Mercury retrograde? Was the car assembled during a Mercury retrograde? You don't know. That's why I personally, I wouldn't buy used or new until it's over. It's 3 weeks. You can't wait 3 weeks. Same thing with buying a house. Don't sign your final papers on a Mercury retrograde, because the only way you'll ever get rid of that house is to sell it on a Mercury retrograde. And you sell a house in 3 weeks. I'd like to see how that's done. I know with time now, but still, houses are going like hotcakes. But from the time you start till the time you end, it's longer than 3 weeks.
Very true. And then City, she did just answer this question. She can't see them on the TV.
No, I cannot. But I think with that double rainbow, I think it was her way of saying to everybody goodbye, thank you, I love you, and I'm out of here. With the trouble between the grandchildren and some of them moving to the U.S. and her son having extracurricular activities going on, I think this last couple of years have been hard on her. I mean, it's like the monarchy has just been put in the spotlight. And she was 96. I think she was done.
Yep, I agree with you.
I think Charles is going to have his hands full. My air conditioner. Well, earthbound spirits absolutely can mess with your gauges, the remotes, garage doors. They can move the temperatures up and down too. Absolutely. If you have some smudge, smudge the house, do it for a couple of weeks and see if that stops. If it stops, then you know that it was an earthbound doing it.
All right. And then Robin actually has a good question. Can you make an appointment with a new doctor during retrograde?
Yeah, because you can't. I mean, you call today to get an appointment with a specialist. You'll be lucky if you get it before December. So, yeah, I would say I would never have elective surgery during a Mercury retrograde, but an emergency or something you can't help, that's the way it goes. You have to. But if you can choose, yeah, no, I would not have that done.
And then Vangla asks, Marianne, what do you think makes a forest have paranormal activity?
You don't know what happened on the grounds over the centuries, and it's not so much paranormal activity as energy that could be negative in a certain area. Oh, let's use 9/11, the towers, for an example. That ground was very negative because of what happened. And they actually had people come in and do some ceremonies, and the ground is good now. I've been there. There's nothing there that shouldn't be there and it's fine. But definitely, definitely. And I really think in forests or wooded areas, you have more of a problem with wee folk and fairies and trolls and that kind of stuff than you do paranormal activity. An earthbound ghost isn't going to get any energy from a bunch of squirrels, so they're not going to hang out there.
Then Crystal asks, do they really mess with light bulbs?
Oh yeah, I mean you can put them in, and 3 days later you're replacing them. It's something. It's the wavelength of their energy with that. That's why printers work sometimes, and sometimes they don't. If they're standing right next to you when you have your computer on, I mean, there's so many different words that people use for a computer. It dropped it. The signal went. Wi-Fi's done. I no clue what any of that means except it's not working, and that's probably from a Mercury retrograde.
All right. And Katrina was saying she knew when she would come home and her walls are hot that they would turn the heat on high.
Yeah, or turn your air off, and some ghosts have gotten really smart. The house is protected, the quinceads are up, so they don't have to worry about anybody coming in the house and doing anything. But some ghosts get so angry that they can't come in anymore because the seeds work. That if you've got, there are some neighborhoods where all the wires are underground, and there's not a problem with those neighborhoods. But if you've got a utility pole and you've got wires coming from that pole and connecting to your house, I've had ghosts mess with the wires on the outside of the house, which would affect the electricity inside. So we've actually taped a quinceed up with duct tape on the side of the house where the wires come in to stop it.
All right.
Yeah, some of them are pretty determined. They're going to still do things their way.
All right. And Danielle, she just actually answered this question twice. She did
Yeah.
not. Yeah. So we're going to move on.
I would have liked to, but no.
How can I tell if I have a fairy and what is left of my garden?
Well, they move with the seasons, and this is the time of the year when things are coming to an end. But that is nature. They'll be fine, and they'll be back again next year. And if you have outside cats, they'll let you know if there's stuff in your if the fairies are around because they will be in there chasing them. And they're not always chasing, little beetles or something.
And Denise asked, I don't know if you watch any of the other paranormal shows, but why do all those paranormal shows have to turn the lights off? Is what Denise
I
is asking.
don't know why those paranormal shows have to do it at night. I, I, I go during the day. They don't, they're not out more at night. They're everywhere. Maybe you hear them more at night because during the day you've got your refrigerator making ice and the dryer turning on or off and the heat and the air and the TV's on or car traffic. You don't pay attention to it. But when at night when you're sleeping, the house is quiet. And that's what, oh, they're always active at night. No, they're active all day. You just hear them at night because the rest of the house is quiet.
Sink says, I recently heard about a forest in Japan called the Suicide Forest. Around 100 people a year commit suicide there every year. I've actually heard of this forest too.
Yeah, I have too, and I think that there are some places everywhere around the world that have a tendency to be a place where people would go to, commit suicide. It's and there's some cultures that suicide isn't a bad thing. And I if I'm not mistaken, I think Japan is the one that have the suicide missions and that. And
Yep.
even now in the Middle East, we've got suicide bombers and everything. So committing suicide has been around forever.
And then Pat has a question. Do pets see earthbound spirits? I often see my cat playing and chasing nothing, and I feel energy around without fear.
Yeah, pay attention to your animals. Absolutely. Cats are really good. They can be absolutely sound asleep and then sit up and start tracking across the ceiling. And you get up, where's the spider? They're watching something on the ceiling and there's nothing there. Cats are really good at seeing ones that crossed over. Dogs, depending on the breed. Now, if you've got a dog that's standing there and looking eye level and growling and you see nothing, your dog is seeing something. Absolutely. If they look up, though, again, that's usually ones that have crossed over. And between spirit guides and guardian angels and relatives that come and visit, everybody's got a crowd in their house anyway. But the dogs, again, your little yippers, they're usually turned into it. And then your guard type dogs, your dobes, your rots, your shepherds, they're going to be a little bit more aware of a stranger being in the house and give you that high pitched, somebody's here that shouldn't be here voice. So
I will attest to that. My cat has definitely let me know when any earthbounds are in the house by growling.
oh yeah,
So
cats are good. Cats are good.
definitely they are protectors.
Yeah, like if your dog won't go down the basement, if you don't go, and they won't go upstairs, if you don't go, there's a reason.
I agree. Then Robin asks, do our fur babies stay with us after they pass?
Some do. I have crossed over quite a few into the light. Dogs I can get to cross in pretty easy. Cats, no. You can't make a cat do anything it doesn't want to do. So what I hope when that happens is there's an earthbound ghost there that can scoop the cat up and take it with them. But my Bashan is still with me over 30 years now. He will not cross over. We've moved like 4 or 5 times. He's found us every time. I just going to take him with me when I die. He's going to go, but there are some that do stay. Yeah. But you will dream of them too. That Rainbow Bridge thing is really true, and you will dream of your pets.
And then Valerie asks, I have a friend with issues in your house. Do you come to houses for people? Go ahead and answer that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do. But for most of you know that, we've been having some health issues here with Ted. And so between tests and doctors, I have not been doing a whole lot of houses. Um, the better he starts feeling, we will start doing that again. Absolutely. But it's going to be a while.
And then Melanie asks, would there possibly be earthbound spirits at a pet salon?
I have done grooming salons. I have done it. Absolutely. You got that right. As a matter of fact, the last one I did, and I won't say who or where it was, but they actually had a dead groomer in that store from a competition groomer that was causing all kinds of problems. If I couldn't get even when I'm alive, I'll do it when I'm dead.
I love some of them sometimes, I swear. Uh, I have Charlie's mom is asking, where does your Bashan Earthbound hang out when he's not with you?
He's in the house. He still gets up on the couch and knocks the pillows off, and he still gets yelled at for doing it. And he'll sleep in bed sometimes. Ted sleeps on his back, and from his knees down, like he'll cross his ankles. And in that space, because the Bashan weighs like 10, 11 pounds. He's a small little guy. And between his knees and his ankles, he'll curl up in there and sleep. And he'll put Ted's legs to sleep. I hear him go, major move. He's kicking the dog off of him because his legs fell asleep. So, but he did what, when I had a real life, I had a grooming shop for years. We used to show dogs. And when Muffy the poodle died, they'd be so sad. Well, of course you are when your babies die. And the only thing I ever said to any of these customers were, well, I'm getting another one. Well, go ahead and get another one. Try not to get the same color. Maybe get a different breed. Because what you're going to do, you're going to compare your dead dog to the new one. And you can put a lot of pressure on a new puppy trying to be as good as the dead one was. But when Major died, did I listen to myself? Oh no, I went out and bought another Bashan puppy, because why would I listen to myself? And Major drove that puppy crazy. I had to rehome that puppy. Major was horrible with that puppy. Absolutely. I would take the dog out. He'd potty. His name was Casper. And I'd bring him in. I'd give him his cookie for potty. And he would look at me and pee right in front of me. And I had just had him out. And it was like, no, 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 no. And finally, so I gave him to somebody that I could visit. But I knew better. I waited about 3 weeks. And I called and I said, how's Casper doing? The guy said, I know you said that he's not all the way potty trained. He says, but this dog has not had one accident in the house. It's like, yeah, because Major doesn't live with you. He lives with me.
Jeff's asking how Ted is doing.
He's doing better. They've got him finally on some pills that seem to be fixing what they don't know what it is. They don't know what it is, but they're giving him pills that is making him feel better. So we're still trying to get to the underlying cause of what's causing the problem. So he's going to have some more tests next month, so we'll see. Yeah, that's all you can do.
And then Christine mentioned this for Valerie. Get on Zoom and Marianne can help you.
Well, that's the fastest way to see if you've got something in the house. Calling back is if you need to know now, and I give you suggestions, and the next Zoom is on the 14th of October, and I still think we have some spaces left in that one. Yeah. And but yeah, come on it. That's your best way to figure out what's going on in the house.
All right. And then I have Jen. She says she found a Catholic medal of some sort in her yard when she moved in, and she kept it on the windowsill in her bathroom thinking maybe it was there for protection. Am I being superstitious?
Well, I would be curious to know which it's a medal of what saint. Right. If it's St. Joseph, maybe they had it in the yard to help sell the house. That could be a reason. That's not what you put in the ground. You actually put a St. Joseph statue in, but some people have just gone with the metal, and somebody just could have lost the metal. It's, I'm glad you didn't throw it in the garbage. I'm glad you just kept it, throw it in a junk drawer, but don't throw it out.
Vangela says, I have chickens as pets and I love them. Can they also stay earthbound like dogs and cats?
Yeah, I've seen snakes and moose and deers and fox. And yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a chicken. I'm thinking about it. Our oldest daughter had chickens. She had five, and each one of the chickens laid a different colored egg, which was really cool. And her chickens are pets. I'm not kidding you. One was named Scramble. One was named Sunny. One was named. I mean, she food. She named them all after food.
And after things that they are made of.
Right. And then I did a really silly thing. Apparently, I mean, who thought chickens played? I can't even believe the chickens play. Okay, that's beyond my scope of understanding. But her chickens, she would string up a head of cabbage, and the chickens would go at this head of cabbage like a tetherball. They would peck at it and push it around and play with it. It's like, oh my God, really? But where she lived in California, it was very, very expensive there for her to buy cabbage. So I went to one of these cheap stores, like an Aldi's or something, the one Christmas, and I found like this huge head of cabbage. I send her dogs gifts and cat gifts. What do you send a chicken? So I found this big head of cabbage, and Ted packed it up, and with the other gifts for the other critters. He came home and he said, that's it. $26 to mail that head of cabbage to California. It's heavy. But they had a good time, so that was good.
So Sandy actually has a good question. Have you ever been with a dog when it has been put to sleep? If so, how do they react? And do they know what's happening to them? Are they sad?
I have. I've done it to my own dogs, and I used to groom for a couple vets. If the dog was too nasty or for whatever reason you couldn't get clippers on them, they would knock them down and I would clip them while they were under. And sometimes, the only thing I have to say is if that's something you have to do, I know you're protecting yourself by walking in and giving the dog to the girl behind the counter and crying as you go back to your car. Stay with your dog or your animal. Let them see you. They trust you. They'll be fine. They're going to be more upset if they come out of their body and they don't see you. Because how many of your pets love the vet? They go there and they get shots and they get poked and they get, their mouth ripped open and everything else. Stay with your animal. I think that's really, really important. And no, they cross over. I've never seen an animal. I've seen them sad if their owner isn't there, but I haven't seen them sad if the owner's there. If they're sick and they've been a good pet, don't make them suffer. Do what you have to do.
Hi, Margie. Christine Burke, have you ever tried to cross over a large animal like a horse, cow, or something in the wild?
Yes, I have. I've done horses for sure. I've done horses at racetracks. I did horses at a reservation in New Mexico. And I did horses. I had a lieutenant or something from the Civil War ride his horse into the white light. He just jumped right in that. It was like the horse was jumping over a fence. It just jumped right in. And the crazy part is about 6 months later, and this was around Gettysburg. It was a neighborhood close to Gettysburg where this guy was out on his horse. Um, she sent me all this information she found. There was the horse's name and everything. There was a picture of the horse. There was the lieutenant riding the horse in this picture. I can't believe she found everything. And he had said, I mean, I think the horse's name was Scout or something, and that the horse was named and everything. I was surprised, but I mean, that was pretty cool.
Now I'm curious, if you've gone to the zoo, if you've noticed anything going on at the zoo.
We go to the zoo very often. We like the zoo a lot. And I have never seen a ghost animal at the zoo. No, I have seen people in the zoo that have ghosts attached to them. They've come with them, but I've seen ghosts attached to some of the workers at the zoo. But I've never seen. No, I've never seen. I bet I would see them more in Africa where animals are poached, because they would take them away from, they would take mothers where the babies would die maybe. And so I bet I would see them more in that area than in an actual zoo.
Okay. Now, Jeff's also wondering, now you have him wondering if there are any earthbound tigers in Korea.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you think where the animal originated from or where their grounds are, I don't know. I know lions or prides are tigers prides too. Is that what their group is called? A pride? I don't really know. But yeah, there could be.
Charlie, Mom, she's got another good question. Do any of the earthbounds you've crossed over come to you in your dreams to thank you?
No, that's never happened. They thank me when they go in, and so I guess that's it. That's good. But somebody said something to me at one of the events, a talk I was doing, and it was it was a Halloween talk. It was over at Carrie Sereno's in North Royalton. They're not there anymore. But I did a Halloween talk every year there for like 14, 15 years. And if you wanted a drink there, you could have a drink. And it was the meal first and then the drink. And then I would talk. Usually when they brought out dessert, I would start talking. And the table that was in front of the stage, they were drinking more spirits than they were asking. Okay. And they were having a good time, so that's good. But the one said to me, and talk about bringing up, she said, sometimes you trick people into going into the light, don't you? I said, well, yeah, because it's really better for them to go in than not. And so sometimes I have, a couple times, a few times. And she said, so what's going to happen? She says, when you go into the light, she says, are all these people going to be screaming at you? It's like, oh my God, I hope not. If they're in the light, they're probably going to be just fine. If I was going to hell, yeah, that would probably be a problem. But I don't think the other way.
So speaking of wine and drinking, tomorrow you will be at John Christ Winery. I think we might have one or two spots still available. If you guys are interested to come have some wine at a local winery in Avon Lake and hear Marianne talk and get some questions answered.
It's limited to 50 people, which is going to be pretty cool because you're going to really get all your questions answered. Nobody under 18. And you do get, with your entry, you do get a glass of wine. After that, you're on your own if you want more, but you do get one free one.
And they're actually opening, they're never open on Thursdays.
Thursdays is their day
for us.
Right. And that's why they're doing it for us, because they are closed on Thursdays. And we don't have to fight with anybody else there. We just have it's our own group. And I've got a couple surprises for Melissa there tomorrow night.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear about these.
Yeah. She's going to be a little surprised, I think.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go next person. Christine, when you were in Gettysburg or any other Civil War battlegrounds, did you see a lot of Earthbound spirits?
You know, I'm such a spoiler. I did not. But in all honesty, we did not go when there was a reenactment going on. And maybe that would pull them out. When Ted and I were there, we were there early in the morning, like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. There were ghosts there, but they were sisters, wives, mothers of soldiers that were killed, looking for their relatives. And the soldiers that were buried off of those battlegrounds, that was all men. They didn't bring up their wives in, when they died and bury them with them. They buried them where they fell. And so a lot of that's what I saw. I saw horses and I saw older men, but they didn't look like they were soldiers. But I never saw what everybody else sees during a reenactment. And again, that's a possibility. I mean, why would they all just come jumping out because I'm there? And the same thing with Salem. I've seen ghosts attached to people in Salem. I've seen ghosts attached to some of the stores in Salem, but I've never seen an earthbound dead witch in Salem. Never.
I feel like that's more of like a residual energy, if anything, just because it was such a massive, strong, it was a war. So there's so much energy that it was like imprinted in the ground in that area.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. That happens, like that the gal that asked about the woods. Who knows what went on there? So, and that's truth with Gettysburg. The energy there is not good energy in Gettysburg at all. It's very negative. Yeah, but again, how much was there? Right.
Jeff says, isn't hell more of a state of mind than an actual place, though?
No, I don't believe that. I believe that there is one or the other. I truly believe that. You're either going to heaven or hell. I don't think there may be an in-between now. And a lot of people think that being earthbound could be purgatory because you're not where you're supposed to be. But I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't go as far as to say that. And actually, the church threw out purgatory. There's no purgatory anymore anyway. Just amazing what they can throw out after all these years.
Renee, have you ever seen an earthbound spirit insect?
No, I don't think I have. The smallest animal that I saw that was earthbound was my own African pygmy hedgehog. I had a little, and she was, just fit in the palm of your hand, and her name was Pins, and she died, and I did see her shadow. She was there, but she did go into the light pretty quick. She didn't stick around either. So, but I've never seen anything smaller than that. I've seen snakes, but snakes are longer than a hedgehog. So I don't know. I haven't really.
So many of you explain this. Do you teach mediumship? I was taught to read photos and can feel spirit, hear and smell things, but I don't see them.
Well, I'm not a medium, so no, I don't teach that one little bit. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Can you feel spirits, hear and smell? I thought to read photos and can feel spirit. I don't know what you mean by smell things. Like if I walk into my house, if I've been shopping and I come home and I smell half and half pipe tobacco, I know my father was visiting because that's the kind of
That's
go
one of
slow.
those things because mediumship, you have your different clairs. So one of them happens to be smell. Another one is actually tasting, which I get a lot of.
I had
They
no
send
idea.
me things.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very weird what you can get from
Yeah,
the
I
other side.
know. Like a lady called me. She says, "I know I have a ghost in my house. The rocking chair is rocking like crazy, and nobody's sitting in it. And that's my grandma's rocking chair. And I know that." She says, and all she wore was Evening in Paris perfume, and I smell it. So grandma's there visiting you. That's it. That doesn't mean that anything's bad's going on.
Right. But to kind of answer your question, we do have development circle at Goddess Elite, so it's part of psychic mediumship. Happens the first and third Tuesday of every month. So feel free to check the website out on all that info. But that would
Yeah,
be
you guys got some good classes there. There's a lot of classes that people can take if they're interested in. And a
exactly.
lot of them are online now too, aren't they?
We're trying our best. It's harder to do mediumship online because some of the things, depending on the person's abilities, you actually have to be with another person to get
First,
that.
right,
Yeah.
right. But I think it's a good start for people that want to see if they want to develop something. My only advice to you is pick one thing and be good at. You can't be good at everything.
Ooh, this is a good question. Melody asks, can a whole city or state become cursed and could it be released by doing the curse removal?
Oh, golly. That would be really hard to do. It's like when they asked me to do Cleveland Hopkins Airport. It was like me and what army? How am I supposed to do that? I could do one walkway and leave, and the plane could come in and it would be full again. Same thing, same principle in a city. Now I've done stadiums and hospitals, but the negative energy can be taken off of these places, but it's too hard to protect that kind of place so that it doesn't happen again. But yeah, it could be done. As a matter of fact, there's a really cute, and I probably don't have it. Maybe this is it. There was a really cute cartoon that came out that showed a lady. She looked like she may have been a Native American standing on the outskirts of New York, and she was holding a smudge stick that must have been 6 feet long. And the caption was, "Can we fix New York?" And it's like, you can try, but I don't think that's going to do the whole thing.
All right, let's see. Nasty Natty, how come there is no evidence of ghosts that have ever been verified?
That have ever been what?
Verified.
I think a lot of people have seen ghosts. And I think that some people have, which I don't have or use, equipment for energy, which could show either one that is earthbound or not. But information that you get from a ghost, I'll use myself obviously as an example. When they tell me things and I tell the owner of the house, well, the ghost said this, and this, how would I know that information? How would I know your dead father's last four numbers of his social security? So, the saying was, if you believe in ghosts, no proof is necessary. If you don't believe in ghosts, no proof is good enough. Either you do or you don't.
Swifty asks, has a ghost ever hugged a grieving family member at a funeral wake? And if so, could they feel it?
Yes, yes. And a lot of times, there are some people that were blessed enough that they wake up in the middle of the night and see grandma sitting on the end of the bed and she's hugging her, patting her on the cheek, and you get up in the morning and you get a call that your grandmother died. Well, she already gave you a heads up and, came and gave you a hug. But yeah, absolutely. There's another thing that's pretty common too. I don't think it's so common now because of cell phones, but when your phone was hanging on the wall or it was plugged in somewhere, like mine still is in my office, you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and the phone gives a funny odd ring, like a half a ring, not a whole ring. And you think, what's that? And you pick it up and you go, hello? There's the dead person talking to you. I'm okay. I see Grandpa. I see Uncle Joe. Everything is great. I feel so good now. I love you. Don't worry. Some people get information that way. And I think that's why people that have crossed over and come in dreams, I think that's why you get up in the morning and you say, I had the best dream of mom last night. You call your sister and you say that, but you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and mom's sitting on the foot of your bed. You're going to freak out. And I think that's why they come in dreams or, do the phone call thing.
Let's see. Jeff, I'm assuming you meant, we scare a spirit or at least surprise them?
I've gotten surprise looks because I can talk to them and they don't believe I can talk to them. And the first thing that one of them will ask me, are you a witch? Because I guess witches can talk to ghosts. I don't know. And so it's like, no, I'm not, but this is just something I can do. And so they're surprised by that. Some of them get a little crabby about the whole thing too. I mean, I remember the one man saying his daughter invited me. I remember him saying, nothing else, wiggle waggling his finger at me. I just love to be wiggle waggled at. And he goes, I bet my daughter found you. She would be the kind to find a person like you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I wouldn't like you if you were alive. And so, so then I said to the daughter, I said, does your brother know I'm here? She goes, oh, of course. And I wanted to look up at this crabby man and go, ha ha, but I didn't. So, they have the same personalities they had when they were alive.
Oh, I kind of segueing into that a little bit. Earthbounds that may have spoken different languages, do you still understand them?
I do, as long as they don't. I have a hard time if they speak really broken English, knowing that I'm American. They will try to talk to me in English, and it's terrible. I can't. It's like, no, talk in your language. I'll understand you. Okay. I don't know how. I mean, I used to know Italian. I just pretty much remember the swear words now. Not that's all. Grandma, grandpa, that kind of thing. There's some words, but English is my language, my first language, pretty much only language. But I did not, when somebody told me, I'm so lucky you speak Ukrainian, I remember looking behind me thinking, who is she talking about? And she says, my mother didn't speak a word of English. It's like, oh, well, there you go. And I didn't have any problem. But the mother could have said, how are you in Ukrainian to me, the daughter, and I wouldn't have understood a word she said.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty neat, though. This one, made me giggle. I'm sorry.
I have said I took the curse off of the Indians in 2007, Ted? Mm-hmm. 7. And that's the year we almost won again, the World Series, but I could take the curse off. I can't make them play better.
They're doing
But
pretty well this year, though.
yeah, and everybody's doing fine. But the ground has got to be. The ground is what is cursed. The stadium was built on the same ground. That ground has got to be, the negative energy has got to be taken off of it. And nobody, they don't want to do it. What am I supposed to do?
Right. Can you see astral travelers? I have seen one who was on his deathbed and been aware of whereabouts of another while I was next her deathbed. Are they similar state as Earthbounds?
Well, it's the spirit of the person. If they're dying, then they're not going to be traveling anywhere. That's just them out of their body. And they can go, well, that's not true. They could go to their houses, to their friends' houses, whatever. They can go anywhere they want. And I guess it would be considered similar. You're out of your body. And yeah, I guess I would say they're similar. The spirit is the spirit, whatever it is they're doing.
And it looks like Margie called you from her neighbors last night. They're having problems.
I expected you last night, Margie, at the book club because I had seats waiting for you.
Oh.
And you didn't show up. And you didn't come out to the winery last week either when you were coming out there too. I have not listened to any phone messages yet today. So I don't know if there's anything at your neighbor's house or not, but I will let you know.
All right. And it kind of looks like I don't have any more questions. So.
Okay. Well, let's bring up that the 9th of October is the Carousel Museum in Sandusky. That is just a great place. The ghosts there are just running amok, let me tell you.
I was just going to say, if you guys got a teaser of the Stanley and Melissa and her, the little video that they were when she was walking around, you get to have this in person. Like, she's right there and she's like, there's a ghost standing right next to you. Hello.
Right. I mean, people got great pictures a couple years ago. And they were getting them on cell phones, which I don't recommend. I still think you get the best picture with film. But they got some great pictures and they keep their ghosts. They don't want their ghosts to leave. And that doesn't include the people that are coming in that have ghosts attached to them. So it's a pretty active place. And the carousel animals are amazing. And this carousel is so huge. And at the end, they give you a big old ride on the carousel. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. And isn't one of them, or like one of the ones that they stationed from Cedar Point?
Exactly. Apparently, there's a haunted ghost that rides the carousel at Cedar Point, and they bring that, like a couple of the others too, I think they bring in for these people to touch them up for the winter and restore them before they put them back out on the carousel again in the spring. But that horse is not there because Cedar Point is still open.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any difference. You're just missing one horse compared to what's there. Some of these horses are $4,000 and $5,000.
Oh wow!
You should. They are gorgeous.
Well, I will be at the shop.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So Melissa and
yeah,
will be down there, but I will have to go one of these days.
Well, it's a great place to take your kids. There's nobody under 18 allowed at this. But if you wanted to, now that's going to just bug me that I can't find that stupid picture. If you wanted to take your kids someplace on a Sunday afternoon, oh my gosh, that's the best place to take your kids to see all those animals and ride that carousel. So.
And then October 2nd, you will be in shop doing your meet and greet. So signing your books, you have all of your goodies, Quincy.
I will.
And salt, green bags, and all of that.
Yeah, so, pretty much everything will be there. And then the fun thing is that after I'm done there's a group of us that are going to actually do what the heck letters.
Oh, yay, the WTF letters.
We're doing them on the
Yay.
2nd.
Uh-oh.
We've already sent a couple letters down to Brooke in Florida. She's going to be reading a couple of the letters. And there's some other people that'll be reading the letters. They are not going to see the letters till they open them up and read them. They're not going to get a chance to see the letter before they read it. Oh no, you got to see the whole effect, right? And there's 8 of them, so we'll do them all, and I don't know if Melissa will divide that or what she'll do with it, but these letters are crazy nuts. I am not kidding you.
So are we doing like a via Zoom? Because I'm getting asked, is it video WTF or is it just podcast?
No, I'm not sure. You won't be seeing it while we're doing it. You'll see it after. So like I said, I don't know what format Melissa's decided to put it in. You will see them, but not while we're doing it.
I think they all want to see everybody's faces, especially yours and Melissa's.
Well, they'll see them on that though too. So I mean, she'll show them. You're not going to be able to get away with it. This is the thing. These letters were written to me, so after they read them, I have to give you an answer, which is why I'm probably going to be wearing sunglasses.
It's great. It's great. Can't wait for this. And then podcast today is the second part of the theater, right?
Yes, second part of the theater, and next Wednesday's the Stanley.
All right. So we got a bunch of good stuff coming up. And I think somebody asked again, when is Julie? Did you ask when the Carousel is? Because that's October 9th. So
that's October 9th, and this is the book for next month. They Serve Bagels in Heaven, and it's by Irene Weinberg. It's not a book you have to learn anything about. This is just a fun book to read.
Real quick, City wanted to know, when did you upload the first WTF letters on YouTube?
Oh gosh, you'd have to go back and look at the list. It's on. There's over almost 200. Yeah. So you can go back, but they're titled. You can find them. I don't know exactly which ones they are. I think I did. I know I did one for sure. I might have done 2 of those, but I know I did one for sure. But yeah, you could. And these are just as crazy as that section. If those were 2, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. I found it.
Oh, picture.
That's the big smudge stick that they wanted to clean New York with.
I wonder how they wrap that. I swear that's a lot.
Yeah, because that's even out of the picture. I mean, it's far. It's far.
And it's one person holding it. Well,
yeah.
Maybe
well, there may be people on each.
That's what I'm thinking. There's other people, but it's just.
Yeah. You couldn't even like that. You'd burn yourself up.
Right.
So I just thought it was cute. When somebody sent to me, I thought, isn't that the truth?
All right, guys, it is 11 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. And Melissa will be back here
next Wednesday.
Yep. So if you guys could just subscribe, spread the news on all of this, and we would greatly appreciate that. And we'll see.
And thank you, Laura, for filling in. Appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.
You did a good job. I didn't.
Right. Jump in.
Jump in. That's what you do.
Yep.
Everybody have a good week. And if those are coming tomorrow at the winery, see you there.
All right. Bye-bye.